Good afternoon, Chair Stapleton, Superintendent Weaver, members of the board. Good afternoon, and thank you for the chance to speak with you. I come today to share some feedback on Regulation 43-170. As you know, PSTA is the largest association of professional educators in South Carolina. So this proposed policy before you is of great interest to our members, as it would govern the process for selecting and challenging all instructional materials in public schools. I agree with the language in your proposal about the importance of, quote, uniform, transparent procedures. That's something I value as both an educator and as a parent of two daughters in South Carolina's K-12 education system. However, PSTA believes these procedures already exist across the state in the form of local board policies. Districts are using these policies to address concerns from members of local communities. And while the process has been difficult, they seem to be working. As we've already heard, some materials have been removed, some have been returned. Now, I'll be the first to admit that these local board policies are imperfect, including in my own school district. But the regulation before you doesn't address all of those imperfections. An example from this morning is I heard valid concerns from parents this morning about the composition of book review committees in local districts. Your regulation would allow the superintendent to designate designees to review books. That could be the same book review committee that already exists. As a result, PSTA believes 43-170 should be amended if you choose to move forward in a few ways. First, we believe the definition of age and developmentally appropriate should be refined in two key ways. It should encompass both Section C, as it currently does, and Section B of SC Code 16-15-305, and it needs greater clarity about the specific categories of content referenced in federal broadcast regulations. Failing to do so would make a good faith effort to review challenges to classics like To Kill a Mockingbird and The Grapes of Wrath difficult because of a lack of clarity. Second, and most importantly, PSTA believes the complaint process should be open only to the same groups allowed to file a complaint under the House and Senate versions of the Transparency Act. Those groups are students, families of students, and employees. The procedure's allowance for any person residing within a school district attendance area to both request a list of classroom instructional materials and file a complaint will create untenable working conditions for educators forced to reply to complaints rather than focus on student needs. Parents should always have the ability to know what's being taught in their children's classroom. And the appropriate remedy for non-parents with concerns is through the ballot box, not through administrative complaints for materials that will never enter their home. Finally, PSTA believes this procedure should adopt one other requirement from the Transparency Act, the requirement for an individual to make a, quote, good faith effort to communicate with the principal or individual involved in the selection of materials prior to filing a complaint. Currently, one of the biggest challenges in our schools and society is the breakdown of civil dialogue. We too often eschew the hard work of building relationships by talking with someone and instead talk about someone. An action we learned in kindergarten is certain to destroy relationships.